You can't control what the future holds, but you can take control of your investments with principle. Whether your goal is to enjoy a comfortable retirement or to secure your financial legacy for future generations. After all, your future and aspirations are worth investing in. That's why we offer a wide range of fund options that gives you global and local exposure for better returns. With more than 142 years of global investment experience at your fingertips, you can take full advantage of opportunities to build your wealth. And we make it easier for you to manage your investments with our enhanced digital solutions. Now you can easily buy, redeem and switch your investments at your own convenience with our easy-to-use online investment portal. Never miss the right opportunities to invest with cash or iInvest. As you build your legacy and aspirations, we will be by your side to help you secure the future for you and your loved ones. Start taking control of your investments with principle today.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to our Kopi Chat session, your source of information for investment and educational. My name is Farah.
And my name is Jonathan, but you can call me John. And today we have a special guest, Wong.
Hi.
Okay.
Back to you.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight,
Sure.
Wong.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thanks
John,
for having
would you
me.
like to? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so tonight we have a very interesting topic. So tonight's topic is on interest rate hikes and inflation trends, so brewing market opportunity. But before we actually get into the topic, right, Farah has an interesting story about her foreign friends' experience about ordering coffee in Malaysia versus overseas.
Yes. Okay, so guys, if you're excited about our topic tonight, the discussion between us and Wong, please hit the button, the thumbs up button, and keep on watching, yeah? And if you're watching us live, do let us know where you're tuning in from. Just drop a line in the comment below. Okay, so you drink coffee, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Do you know what's the difference between Western coffee and traditional coffee?
No idea. Do enlighten us, please.
Yeah, enlighten us, Farah.
Yeah, so I think it's very common for us to order coffee from Mama. We just say, hey, we want to order coffee. So I met this friend, a foreigner, and he told me that our traditional coffee, is too sweet. So after much conversation, then only I found out he actually ordered kopi at this one stall, and if you order from Mama or from the stall, our kopi means it's coffee with condensed milk.
Yes.
That's why lah manis.
Oh my God, that's too sweet. Yeah, I
Yeah,
cannot take it.
yeah. So I was telling him, make sure that you order kopi or not kopi. Do you know any other terms besides
Kopi si kosong. That's the best. Kopi si kosong.
What's kopi si kosong?
I assume that is coffee with milk and no sugar.
It's fresh milk, right? Yeah. What about you? Have you any experience?
I think basically copy all. If you want
Kopi.
just black coffee or whatever.
black
Yeah,
coffee.
right? Yeah. So it was quite interesting, So let's go into our serious discussion.
Yeah, so before we actually get into the questions that we have for you, Wong, so I would like everyone to, stay towards till the end, because we have a very special offer towards the end of the episode, which I will mention to you. So, Wong, just before we get into the questions, right, what is fixed income? Could you tell our audience? Yeah.
Sure. I think a lot of the maybe audience are not that familiar with fixed income. I think they are probably familiar with equities, right? So fixed income is basically refer to an instruments, fixed income instruments, which actually pay a regular interest or coupon lah. And typically the payments are semi-annually. Okay. And obviously these instruments have a maturity profile. Right? At the end of the maturity, basically the borrower or the issuer will have to pay the principal, and together with all the regular interest income. So in a sense, investors in this instrument will get a regular interest income, and at the end of the maturity, they will get back the principal.
Right. Okay, so we saw fixed income market in the first half being one of the most challenging times in history for investors, right? So could you tell us briefly how different assets had performed so far, especially fixed income funds?
Yeah, definitely. I think during the first half of the year, overall performances of all asset class have actually fallen into negative territory, right? Save for the deposits and also the money market funds lah. Now our flagship lifetime bond fund and also the lifetime Islamic Sukuk fund basically contracted close to 1.5% during that period, during the first half of the 2022 lah. I think these are basically because due to the negatively impact following the anticipation of the US Federal Reserve to actually increase its Fed funds rate and also to reduce the balance sheet. This is in consideration of the high inflation that they have in the US. Right? Typically, they will want to increase interest rate to bring down the inflation, right? And also, looking at those rising interest rate in US, obviously, local market, right, would also anticipate that Bank Negara may actually increase interest rate as well, right? To make matter worse, for the first half of the 2022, we also saw the Malaysian supply and demand dynamics in the Malaysian bond market was quite basically not favorable at all. Right? I think this is basically due to the announcement of EPF special withdrawals, which was much higher than expected. I think the market initially was looking at 20 billion of withdrawals, right? But it actually came out to be about close to 40 billion, which is quite substantial, especially during the period when the government is also looking to issue large funding, government funding, to actually pay off for the budget deficit of 6% for 2022, right? And overall, these factors have actually affected the investor sentiment, and also resulted in a lot of the investors staying sidelined, especially like ourselves, and that resulted in the bond yields to adjust higher to reflect potential OPR hikes by Bank Negara.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about trends. Are there any trends that are worth highlighting in the fixed income market in the recent months?
Yeah, I think in particularly during the last 2 months, we did observe that some of the basically most of the bond prices have actually priced in the expected OPR hike by Bank Negara, right? As you all know, Bank Negara has really raised interest rate twice, right, to 2.25% from the low of 1.75, following the cut during the pandemic period, right? So the bond yields have actually moved higher in anticipation of Bank Negara likelihood of raising interest rate to about 2.75 to 3%. And also, in addition to that, we believe the current sentiment in the fixed income market has actually improved, right? As I mentioned earlier, first half the supply and demand dynamics was quite weak, but in the second half, I think we are seeing that to improve much better than expected, right? As a result, bond yields have actually been traded much lower as compared to the high of June closing. And also, US will continue to raise interest rate, right? Especially the US Federal Reserve, because of the persistently high inflation, right? But we do take note that by raising interest rate, it could eventually slow your economic growth, right? One of the reasons why they would want to raise interest rate aggressively is basically to slow down the economy, to slow down the aggregate demand, so that they can actually pull down the inflation, right? And because of that, potentially global growth will be affected, right? And then we do expect that could also affect the global bond yields as well, including in Malaysia. So in a sense, Malaysia bond yields will be well supported because of expectation of a slower growth globally, right? So in all in all, we do expect the fixed income market to be positive in the second half of the year.
That's very good.
Yeah.
So before we actually go on to the third question, right, we actually want to welcome all the audiences that we just have joined us. So if you like this session, just give us a thumbs up or share the video to your friends. If you have any questions for Wong, please post it in the comment section, and we would address some of the questions at the end of the session. So, Wong, so my third question to you, right?
Sure.
Okay, inflation. Okay, we've been hearing this a lot in the news,
Yep.
radio.
Yep.
So, before I actually ask my question, my actual question, right? I want to ask you, what is inflation?
Okay, inflation is typically a measurement to basically something to measure the value of goods and services, lah. Right. These are done by the government to actually measure what are the changes in the goods and services within a basket of prices of goods. Right. So, in a sense, I think as rising inflation, or rather, if inflation rises significantly higher than expected, I think Bank Negara would be quite worried, because that would actually affect the market demand, right? And as such, I think you can see that the global central banks are basically looking to raise interest rate to actually try to combat the higher inflation numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be contributed by quite a number of factors, like as I hear you, right? So we see inflation as one of the most concerning issues in developed nation, right? So, I think you touched a little bit about Malaysia, right? So, my question to you is, how about in Malaysia? Do you foresee this being a matter for Malaysia in the near future?
Yeah, sure. Apart from what we are seeing in the developed economies, where the inflation is quite high, for Malaysia, the headline inflation has been rising from the beginning of the year. But if you look at the latest CPI print for the month of June, it actually rose about 3.4%, right? Although it beat estimates of 3.2% and also the prior month of 2.8%, but all in all, Malaysian inflation is still much lower as compared to the developed economies, like the US and the UK, and even the European economies. So what actually pulls down the headline inflation in Malaysia is basically because of the government subsidies. It's basically contained by the government subsidies on those food items and also the fuel pumps, right? Such measures actually mitigated the country from rising commodity prices, right? And because those prices are contained, we don't see those inflation number to be much higher compared to the US economies, right? But Bank Negara did highlight that, especially during the July MPC, that the headline inflation could actually rise higher in some months. This is basically due to the base effect from the electricity prices. As we know, tariffs have been pulled up by the government. But overall, on the average, inflation for 2022, Bank Negara is projecting that it's going to be within 2.2 to 3.2%.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So, with the assumption that our inflation trend is likely to rise further, what is your view on Bank Negara potential policy decision going into 2023?
Okay, sure. Bank Negara, as I mentioned earlier, has basically raised interest rate twice. And we do believe Bank Negara will continue to normalize its monetary policy. And will obviously raise its OPR as long as growth outlook remains relatively stable with the minimal downside risk. And we do expect second quarter real GDP to be strong following the reopening of the economies in April and also the reopening of the borders. Right? And that actually will allow Bank Negara to hike. As I mentioned earlier, we do not anticipate Bank Negara to be aggressive as the US Federal Reserves. So we do expect Bank Negara to raise its OPR to around 2.75 to 3% by first half of 2023.
Okay. Yeah. So I think the last question that I have for you, right? Could you share with us what are the expectations for investors when investing in fixed incomes, like in fixed income funds? Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. For investors that has intention to invest into fixed income, do expect lower price volatility relative to the equity funds, right? Especially when interest rates are stable. So we expect NAV, the NAV of the fund to be stable as long as interest rates are stable, right? And secondly, fixed income funds do pay regular dividend, right? Because the underlying investments is bonds or sukuk, which earns the semi-annual interest or
Right.
coupon that I mentioned earlier, lah, right? And lastly, both our lifetime bond fund and also the lifetime Sukuk fund are tax exempted for basically the retail and also the corporate investors, lah.
Right, that's good. So before I actually thought about one more question, right? But
Sure.
just want to direct this question to the audience. If you have any questions, please post it in the comment section. We still have a little bit of time, so Wong will be happy to address some of the questions.
Sure.
So, to my very last question. Could you maybe mention to the audience, right? I believe just now in earlier questions you already mentioned some of our funds, right?
Yeah.
But could you just remind the audience again, what are the fixed income funds that is available to invest in with principal?
Sure. There are various type of funds. Typically, if you are low risk in nature, you can actually invest into those deposit funds, lah, which in terms of return is much lower because typically investment in the deposit funds are deposit placements with our local banks, lah. Right.
Okay.
The other one will be the money market funds, which we have Islamic money market funds and the money market income fund, lah, right? And these are slightly higher in return, where basically we are investing into short-term instruments, lah.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So it's in terms of return, it's basically much higher than deposit funds, but it is lower in terms of the performance return compared to the bond fund and also the Sukuk fund, lah.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
For both the bond and the Sukuk fund, because we are investing into long-term bonds, there will be slight volatility, but the return is obviously much higher compared to the money market and also the deposit funds, lah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Farah, do we have any questions from the audience? Think none.
I think we're good for
Yeah.
our session for tonight.
But I think don't worry. I mean, if
Yeah.
you are too shy to actually put the questions in the comment, please drop us a note on Facebook as a message, and also maybe if you want to write into us as well through our website,
Yes.
through our contact us form, it's always available there, and we will address your questions separately.
Yes.
And remember about the promotion that I actually promised you to bring up as well. So if you invest with us online from as low as RM500 with cash or 1,000 ringgit using EPF savings, you would actually receive RM50 touch and go e-wallet credit. So this is available, promotion is available from 11 to 12 of August. So you have until tomorrow to invest, and all the details are actually placed in the comment section below. And if you get the RM50, you can actually explore investing with us via Touch and Go's e-wallet newest platform, Go Invest. Right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Okay.
any closing remarks, Farah, Wong?
Do you want to say anything before we say goodbye to everybody?
I don't think I have anything to add, lah.
All right. So before we end our coffee chat session for tonight, hope to see you guys again on the 24th of August. There'll be another session. 24th August, Wednesday, same time, 8:30 p.m. Yeah?
Yeah, 8:30.
Okay, yeah. So before we say goodbye to everyone, make sure you like or follow our principal Facebook. And it's for you to look for investment tips, and of course, a reminder to our next FB Live session.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of, we do regular market commentary, and we have a lot of videos available on the website as well. So please do follow us for the latest tips. And I guess next time you drink your next cup of coffee, you think of Principal.
Yes, think of Principal, your investment and retirement partner.
Right.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you for joining the
Goodbye.
session.
Good
Bye.
night.